Hi, this is Steph with Belladonna Dyes, and today's project is going to be a spirograph. So I thought I would start this video out with just showing you exactly what it took to make the entire project. And right off the bat, while I'm editing this, I realized that while I was mixing my dye, I did it incorrectly. So first of all, I'm making a half batch dye for small projects. And I do have a video on this if you want to go and listen to me ramble on about how to make small amounts of dye. But what I did here is a half a cup of tap water, and then the dye has an asterisk, which means it needs double the amount of dye. So it should have had 2 teaspoons of dye instead of 1 teaspoon of dye. So I'm leaving this in just to show you my mixing process, but also to show you that I am a human and I make mistakes just like all of us do, and how sometimes mistakes can still turn out okay. And as you can see, I made the same mistake here. So I have tried all different ways to make mixing liquid dye enjoyable, and I have yet to come out with anything that's going to make me enjoy mixing dye. But what I can tell you, for me personally, this is the easiest setup for mixing dye. So it's the immersion blender with my OXO silicone measuring cup, and then I just use dollar store measuring spoons and teaspoons. I have the magnetic stirrers, all of that stuff. I mean, those are great if you're a constant liquid dyer. You can have your dye just running all the time. But I'm more of an ice dyer, so I don't mix a lot of liquid dye, and this is just the easiest straight up go-to system. And I have links down below in the description box for all the stuff that you see me using here, like the 8-ounce bottles from Dharma Trading Company. They're my favorite bottles. The OXO measuring cup is amazing because you can squeeze it and pour it into the bottle. And then the immersion blender, it's just tried and true. Now, one thing I do recommend, though, is clean up as you go. You don't want to have to come back and deal with a mess. So that's why I leave this stuff in, just so you can see my process. And I recommend that you wear gloves. All right, now let's get into making the spirograph. So there are just a couple things you really have to pay attention to make one of these. They're not hard to do, they're just pretty labor intensive. So I have this tank top turned inside out, so the seams are on the outside. They're going to remain on the outside for the entire project. I have the front side of the tank top up, okay? That's the first thing you have to pay attention to. Which side are you working on? So start with it facing up. Now I'm using the microwave splatter guard and a hemostat. If you don't have a splatter guard, you can make yourself some type of a flat, clear plastic tool. This spirograph really is best done on a pleated spiral, which I don't make pleated spirals. So without some type of tool or making the pleated spiral, it might come out looking rather wonky, but just do the best that you can. Now, another thing that you need to pay attention to is which direction do you turn your hemostat or your hand? I happen to go clockwise. So I've got the front side up and I'm turning the spiral clockwise. I started out by securing it with rubber bands, which is my typical way of making spirals. And then I remembered that I'm going to be sticking this into the microwave, and in the microwave, rubber bands will snap, and I don't want to waste my favorite rubber bands. So this is just blue masking, like painter's tape. Really easy to do, just wrap it on around there. Now, I don't know what you call this glass pan. It sort of looks like a pizza pan, but it's microwave safe. Okay, make sure when putting things in the microwave, they're designed to go into the microwave. All right, so I have a previous video on how to make the spirograph, and when you're finished watching this one, I recommend that you go check that out. I will link it down below, and I will also put it on the end screen. But I'm trying something different this time to get better results. So all this is a sponge brush, and I thought by going with the larger size, I would make quicker work of adding the dye to it. But you guys, I'll have to tell you and be admitting this to you, this was a laborious, torturous process for me. It took about 15 minutes for me to get a nice coating of dye on all of the pleats. Now you don't want to put so much dye that it saturates all the way through to the back side. You just are trying to coat the top of the pleats. I don't want all the red to have enough time to seep all the way through, so I flipped the project over so that the red is on the bottom. Now I'm going to be taking this project to the microwave, and so I need to cover it, and I'm using cling wrap, saran wrap. Make sure that you cover it very well. If your fabric dries out in the microwave, it can and will catch on fire or it will scorch, and you don't want that to happen. Once at the microwave, you need it to be at 1,000 watts, and you only want to do it for 2 minutes. And stay with your microwave. Do not walk away, because if it catches on fire or something is going to happen, you need to be there so you can handle it immediately. After the 2 minutes, I let it cool down about 15 minutes because it's super duper hot. Make sure you do not burn yourself. So it's probably been about 30 minutes. I got sidetracked. So the project is nice and cool. I'm not going to burn my hands. And now the rinse out process is the same as always. I'm going to start by using cold water to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fabric. And then I increase my water up to hot and I rinse until the water runs pretty much clear. And while I'm doing this, I have my washing machine already pre-filling with the hot water and Kirillon, which is a professional textile detergent. I'm going to do just one hot water cycle with this tank top and let it do its, hot water cycle, then cold water cycle, and we will come back and carry on with making the spirograph. I got to thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to soak that red and white tank top without getting red dye in the white area? Because when you take dye and soak it in soda ash, it leaches out. So what I decided to do is I'm going to add my soda ash directly to my dye instead of doing the pre-soak on the shirt. So I'm doing the half cup of dye that I already mixed, and I'm adding a half teaspoon of soda ash to the dye. So here's the thing though, with this dye, you either need to use it all up within 48 hours or you just need to pour it on right down the drain, because procion dye and soda ash are no longer reactive after 48 hours. Like I said, this shirt has not been soaked in soda ash. It is just damp from the washing machine. All right, now here is the second part of where you need to pay attention to what you're doing. So the seams are still on the outside of the shirt. And now what I have facing up is the back side of the tank top, okay? And I'm making sure that I'm still turning my hemostat in a clockwise motion. I just always go clockwise. I don't know. It's just the way my hands work. What this does, this is going to create the spiral going into the opposite direction, giving the look of the spirograph. I want to point out that if you're uncomfortable using your microwave, you don't have to do it this way. These are rather laborious. There's a lot of steps that go into it, and I wanted to just get it done in a timely fashion. But you could make this the good old-fashioned way by batching each side for 24 hours at 70 degrees or higher. Like I said, I just wanted to get it done in a really timely fashion. I don't find these particular patterns to be very cost effective because it could take you up to 5 days to make one shirt. So I recommend, if you're going to be making some spirographs, do a whole bunch at a time, because this was a very wasteful project. I have to admit it. I made one at a time, so each washing machine cycle was devoted to one project. That's a lot of detergent and a lot of water and just a lot of time and energy going right down the drain. So make yourself an assembly line and make many at one time. All right, now this is the final tried and true rinse out method. We're at home stretch now. So while I have the washing machine pre-filling, I'm going to do my rinse out, which starts by using cold water. That's going to rinse away any soda ash that might still be reacting within the fabric. And then I increase my water up to hot and I rinse until the water runs pretty much clear. From here, I take it to the washing machine, and I like to do hot water cycles using Curalon, which is a professional textile detergent. And then I do a final hot water cycle using Milsoft, which is a professional fabric softener. Then I'll put it in the dryer and I'll iron it, and we'll come back and we'll see the results. Well, here it is, guys. Here's our Spirograph after it's been washed and dried, and I think it turned out pretty good. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Even with me mixing the dye incorrectly, it still has quite a bit of vibrancy. So again, I left that part in there just to show you that accidents can still work out. Now, I typically wouldn't use red and blue. I would maybe do prettier colors like purple and green. I did this on purpose because I want you guys to be able to go back and look at the previous video and see where the improvements have happened. Maybe you can take some stuff from that video and incorporate to this video and find your way and what might work better for you guys. Overall, I'm pleased with it though. I definitely see the spirals going in two different directions, giving it that spirograph look. Like I said, if you are good at making pleated spirals, I definitely recommend the pleated spiral because your results will be even better. I still need to improve on this a little bit. I'm not done. I'll try again. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. So what do you guys think? Please leave me some comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, leave a thumbs up, and click the bell and set it to all. That way you get notified of future uploads. And remember, have fun tie-dyeing!